Welcome and thank you for joining us here on Stream 3 at DSC DACH 25. My name is Katarina and I'll be your host throughout today's exciting sessions. We're kicking things off with Christian Mata, analytics consultant at Metadata EU. He will tell us why visual data analysis with Tableau matters more than ever in the AI era. Christian, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Katarina. Welcome from my side. Just is it up and running?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So again, from my side, Customata, my talk, my session, tutorial session today will be about why visual analysis is with Tableau matters more than ever. Why that is the case, I will share you my experiences and my views on that topic. And we will thereby also look into working with Tableau. It's a session geared towards beginner to intermediate, so no worries if you don't have any prior experience to Tableau. If you do, however, have worked with it quite a bit, then obviously some of the things you will know by heart. But still the context should be interesting and relevant to you. A couple of words on myself. I'm doing BI and analytics work for quite a long time, around about 25 years in consulting with BI and data warehouse and analytics projects since 2001. I've picked up Tableau after using quite a few other products before in 2009 when I was actually working for Hewlett-Packard in New Zealand as a consultant, and for a proof of concept for the Ministry of Education, they were looking at dashboard tools, and Tableau came out in a tool comparison quite strong back then, and I got to love it, and yeah, ever since I use it. I'm a Tableau trainer, I'm certified, and yeah, as you heard already, I'm a passionate user of Tableau. I'm not affiliated with Tableau in any way, so I do not get any commercial benefits from sharing my views and my passion on Tableau, but yeah, so I find this a very powerful tool back then when it was founded and originated, and it came a long way, and it's still a great product to date. Some other things on myself. I've also lately participated in this piece of work in this book, the Handbook of Data Science and AI. You might know it already from Wolfgang Weidinger, Scholt Todt, Stefan Papp, Catherine Munro, Danko Nikolic, and many other experts in their fields. I've contributed the book chapter on business intelligence and linking it up with data science and AI in this book. I've also done a book on my own. So this is just German only. So if you don't speak German, then might not be for you. Otherwise, if you're interested, to reach out to me. you might be able to get a copy. Okay, just one word on my company. So I'm self-employed for about 10 years, since 11 years since 2014, with the vision, company named Metadata, with the vision of effective use of the data advances. I just transition towards a sustainable economy. So naturally, things like energy and related topics are of high interest to me. To support my customers and this vision, I provide training workshops on visual analytics and self-service BI. And just this year, I switched from being full-time self-employed to a permanent position at a consulting company. But today I'll represent myself and my views, not the views of the consulting company, but the views of myself and Metadata. So I just noticed I haven't switched the slides. So what this tutorial will not be about, and then I'll come to what it is about, and we'll dive right into it. So we won't run through all the interesting AI functionalities in Tableau and some other products. Neither the older AI functionalities or augmented analytics functionalities, as they were called in recent years, nor the Tableau Plus or the Tableau Next. If you seek out this kind of information, please ask someone from Salesforce or a licensed reseller of Tableau for this information. I will, however, share some brief context on what's happening with AI at Salesforce Tableau. And even this week, there's the big Dreamforce conference, so it is to be expected. Big announcements were I think it was in May, when the Tableau conference this year was held. So I do not have inside information on Tableau, but I do have, I can share you some of the official information and give you context from my perspective. What this tutorial is about, we will be looking at visual analysis as part of the solution towards trustworthy information. So clearly we can make use of AI, and I would encourage you to do so. But let's not forget traditional skills with data analysis. And let's not forget tools that help us humans to get more insights out of the data, or maybe even just sense check some of generated results. So that's what this talk will be about, using visual analysis to that end, and then support this human and AI cooperation for analytics. So yeah, in that respect, I will share some inputs and principles that won't become obsolete by the next few releases next quarter, as AI progresses that quickly. Right. So where does Tableau come from? Well, it might be before I start. I would like to get a feel for who's in the audience today. I'll open the chat. Please open the chat and let me know. Type in your name and job function and then hit enter. So I'll make a start. Can you just find the chat window, please, and give me feedback there? As right now I have no clear picture of who's in this call, and I want to somehow make it even more relevant to you, depending on your experiences. So let me check with you. Okay, I don't see any responses here in the webinar chat. Katarina, can you maybe help out? Who's on the call?
Okay, you can continue. Maybe the people are just shy.
All right. I would like to know, but maybe we can cover that later. On a scale from 1 to 10, being a new user to Tableau or being an experienced user, I'll just try one more time before I move on. So 10 would be an expert. Please just type a digit. If you can find the chat window. All right, otherwise, we'll wait for 10 seconds to check for your response, and then I'll move on. Then actually, if you're more on the beginner side, if you're using Tableau, you're in the right session. I will start from the basics today. Otherwise, if I have more experienced audience, I would gear up the level. Okay, I will move on then. Let me just bring up my slides again. Okay. So where's Tableau coming from? Tableau is a product. So its core is to make data analysis visual and intuitive and interactive and accessible to different audiences, not needing to have an IT background or a technical background, but still be able to get a lot of value out of your data. The mission was to simplify how large and complex data sets can be explored and understood. And it was founded in 2003 by Christian Chabot, Pat Hanrahan, and Chris Stolte. Came out of a Stanford academic project, and the first product was Tableau Desktop back in 2004. So over 20 years now. That they originated Tableau, and the main innovation was the combination of computer graphics the use of databases and getting data from there, and the human interaction with a technology called VisQL, which translated user interactions into database queries and visualizations at the end of the day. Okay, nowadays Tableau is part of Salesforce since 2019 or 20. So I'm part of a bigger company, and yeah, naturally things have shifted a little bit more towards the enterprise focus, but nevertheless they retained the strength and the culture of Tableau's products. And Tableau's mission was to help people see and understand the data. And now I will open a quick video.
Tableau is a drag and drop product.
I hope I can share this with you with audio. Maybe Katharina can just give me feedback whether you can hear the audio that I'm about to share. Let me just bring it up. Can you see this video screen?
Yes.
Does it come up
Tableau
with the
is a drag and
sound?
drop
Yes, I can
any
hear
skill
it.
level
It does. Okay, thank you.
can use to analyze data. It's a self-service business intelligence application people use to answer questions they have. Tableau Desktop lets people connect to volumes of data of various formats and visualize it on the fly. Databases, spreadsheets, and even big data sources are easily combined into visualizations, reports, and dashboards. People build applications and dashboards like these, drag and drop, at up to 10 times the speed of a traditional business intelligence system. The most impressive thing about Tableau Desktop is that people of all skill levels can use it. In fact, you can get a free trial off of our website. Publish dashboards and reports to Tableau Server, where you can work with data and collaborate right in a web browser or on a tablet. Access a dashboard on Tableau Server and start asking questions. Make discoveries and share them with team members right in your email. You and your colleagues can even open a dashboard on an iPad, ask new questions, and share your new insights. Tableau Server is a new and innovative approach to business intelligence. People are using it to produce live, interactive, visual windows into their data. These visual windows are zipping around companies, accelerating the pace of analytics, and finally keeping pace with the data deluge. Tableau Server can scale from small work groups to companies with tens of thousands of users. Tableau Online is a hosted version of Tableau Server. It's fast, flexible, and secure business intelligence in the cloud. It allows people to answer questions of their data from anywhere in the world. Quickly store data from Salesforce, Google Analytics, or any of your databases. Automatically schedule refreshes and add data models to make sure everyone is working from a single point of truth, no matter where they're based. There's no setup time involved or hardware to purchase. You don't have to manage a thing. Tableau Online, the power of Tableau in the cloud.
Okay, so the reason I'm showing this video to start with is because it's, to me, the one of the best ones showcasing this visual analytics, this visual analysis flow using the product. It's an older version of Tableau that you might have recognized, and Tableau has obviously developed further, but this core strength is still what makes Tableau special among other products. Naturally, in 2025, and I'll switch back to the slides. Now in 2025, there are a couple of more things to Tableau than it was back then in 2009 when I got to use it first. Obviously, there is a server environment or a cloud-based environment, so you can either host Tableau's contents in your own on your own infrastructure with Tableau server, or have a Tableau hosted for you with Tableau Cloud. And what's developing now is with additions of further functionality, especially geared towards AI. Tableau releases new product called Tableau Next to complement the existing ones. Tableau Desktop is where you will do your analysis, which I will have open with you today, where we will do the visual analysis before we then are able to share our visualizations, dashboards, interactive reports and visits, and share them to a server environment or a Tableau cloud. Okay. What's new with AI and Tableau? So just a brief preview to you. So augmented analytics functionality is not new to Tableau, as obviously AI is not just started with generative AI and the advent of ChatGPT, but obviously got a huge boost, and especially also Tableau and Salesforce are riding this wave quite well, and they have obviously introduced new functionality, also including generative AI into their product lines and helpful functionality. So you can get more information on that. I'll leave you some references. I won't go into depth here on where AI is embedded in Tableau's products. What they do lately is they do, however, package some of those capabilities into their Tableau Plus license. I don't know if that will change anytime soon, but Tableau Plus license on top of the regular Tableau licensing with creators, viewers, and explorers. So basically for analysts and all the way down to business users that just need to consume and view content. The Plus license gives you additional functionality on server and yeah, enabling things like Tableau Agent and Tableau Pulse. Tableau Agent is, might just bring that one up briefly. So you have a sense of what it is about. So switch my screen there. So you should see this agent. I'll just
Tableau Agent is your trusted AI assistant for analytics in every step of your data journey. You can kickstart data exploration with suggested questions, or you can ask your own question in natural language. Tableau Agent will automatically apply analytics best practices and recommended chart types to your prompts. And with Tableau Agent, you're in the driver's seat, so you can readily go between working with Tableau Agent, making modifications on your own with traditional drag and drop, and back to collaborating with your analytics agent seamlessly. It can even help you create calculations, turning intent into syntax in seconds. So you can dive even deeper into the trends in your data. Tableau Agent helps with more than just exploration and visualization. You can also accelerate data preparation with the ability to create calculations in Tableau Prep and generate descriptions to enrich your metadata with a single click in Tableau Catalog. Tableau Agent is your trusted AI assistant to accelerate your data journey.
Okay, so just for some context, where Tableau is heading. And that's actually already released products. So depending on you having the Tableau Plus license, you will be able to work with that. Just in terms of announcements this year, so this Tableau Next will be a new experience using Tableau, containing a couple components, which I will not get into any depth here, but just so you see, it will complement the existing products that I just mentioned. I haven't mentioned Tableau Prep. Tableau Prep is the user interface to build up data preparation workflows and then being able to share your prepared data onto the platform. Tableau Next is heavily using the Salesforce platform, is also packaging up a new way to link up different data sources with Tableau semantics. I'll just leave you the references in the slides. You will get the PDF of this session after the session. Okay, so where does Tableau aim? It aims to improve the analyst efficiency, facilitate more and better business discussions with business leaders for better outcomes to drive business results. Yeah, so that's where Tableau will go with this, and it's so this cooperation of the analyst and AI. This will be something that will unfold over time. Tableau calls this agentic analytics. So maybe not just a marketing term. I would think there's really a strong direction here. Yeah? So it does naturally change things, and therefore also Tableau responds and revamps the products. So the user interface will still be visual, but will have much more conversational capabilities. You've seen Tableau Agent before, embedded into the products like Tableau Desktop. It is also embedded in Tableau Prep to come up with the formulas to calculate certain things or normalize data or transform it in a way. So it will be able to help out there. Visuals and text. It will generate visuals, you've seen that, and provide you with the references how it came up with a result, or just summaries of the data in text. Yeah, so, and the visuals will serve as an interface between outputs from AI and us humans having the business inquiries. So Tableau is integrating AI into the product suite and incorporates natural language queries and AI assistants. And obviously there are LLMs embedded in a safe and secure way, so your data will always be safe, not trained upon. Salesforce and Tableau are shifting towards agentic analytics. And so what does that lead us with? Us as analysts or data scientists or business intelligence professionals, or also, of course, all the business users that make use of their data using analytics tools. So visual analysis will be a key entry point, will remain a key entry point, but visual analysis, especially also to understand your data, also to understand what you received from AI and being able to check that. So, and AI will be able to accelerate part of our work and accelerate analysis. So there is, when those products roll out in full, there will be no way you can be as fast as the AI generating results, compiling the numbers. But it's obviously what makes an analyst is far beyond just running reports, creating dashboards. So there's much more to that. Yeah. AI can accelerate some of that stuff, but the visuals will help you to earn trust when you then represent those insights, maybe in a story, in a narrative. Okay, so is it just agentic analytics? One might ask, is it just good for AI agents? So where does that leave us, humans? We may ask ourselves, what plays to our strength? What keeps us humans in the loop? Who will the business leaders turn to for key decisions? So you probably can see where I'm going with this. When will human analysts be contacted versus just the always on, always responding AI agents and chatbots? Maybe that question is to be seen. Yeah. Will business people and also business leaders rely more on their AI agents to give them a response, or on actual people doing that? That's to be seen. That will be also culture will play a role here. But of course, one might ask, what's the value of a human-led analysis when AI agents can do maybe just as well or generate metrics and insights automatically? So I will not have all the answers for that, but we will focus on where visual analysis will be part of the solution. So clear answers, in my opinion, these are out to be seen. Obviously, things will continue to evolve quite quickly with AI. So maybe time for some hypothesis testing using AI for data analysis and your data work. So these are viewpoints of some of the influential people in this data world. Brent Dykes, for example, he's written a quite well-known book on data storytelling. Our ability to find and tell meaningful data stories will be enhanced, not replaced by AI. Yeah, and he also states that in an article on Forbes magazine, The Future of Data Storytelling. Then some other topics. NLP will be a big opportunity for AI to contribute to business intelligence as well, and dashboards from Tobias Zwingmann, which he shared in a LinkedIn post. I think he makes a good point there. He also references some functionality that, for example, is available in Power BI, functionality where you can ask your data with natural language, something that also Tableau has built into its product. Just lately got changed to the newer platform, but it was a functionality back in 2021 actually in Tableau 2. So this will of course still be around. People will still need data visualization skills. So Nick Desperat's a very good trainer on data visualization and business reporting. He has followed up and further developed courses that Stephen Fry, who's also a highly influential person there, has developed. People will still need the data visualization skills, but they can guide and supervise chart making APIs. So we will see an example of that in a few moments. Data and AI literacy will be your entry point to feeling empowered. Jordan Morrow has a lot to say about data literacy. That's his view. So I think these are quite valid views, but how well they will unfold, that will obviously be something to follow in the coming years and to follow now. Okay, sorry, but I've looked at the wrong screen, not changed the slide. So you have them in the slides. We will now turn over to hands-on going into Tableau. But just before that, I'll briefly summarize what this visual data analysis is about. So it means visual analysis means exploring data visually. You see Henry and Stolte were part of the founders of Tableau. And the story unfolds as you navigate from one visual summary into another. So that's a key point that we will see in the tool itself. And it typically progresses in an iterative process. So process of view creation, exploration, and refinement. And your analysis will be a repeated exploration to develop insights and find out relationships in your data, influences, and causal patterns. So that's this visual analysis cycle, very well enabled by the Tableau product. So you have a question or a task at hand, you look for some data, you put it into a visual structure. With that, you're able to see the results and perceive them quicker, develop some insights from that, and you're able to act, or the story continues with asking follow-up questions and the cycle repeats. So why is this important? Probably not too new to you. Simply because our human perception, 70% of the bandwidth, so to speak, to perceive information is through our sight. The other senses make up just 30%. So what's happening in the brain is quite interesting. When we make, without knowing that or needing to know that, there's something called the iconic memory, and there's something going on which is called pre-attentive processing of input. That is not requiring actual effort. We are pattern recognition. The pattern recognition is built into our brain, so it enables us to perceive the world, and really these senses are giving us a lot of speed, and it's happening automatic. So we can make use of that as opposed to relying on short-term memory, which can hold a number of things all at once. And if you have like 10 numbers to make sense of, then you won't be able to remember all of them, and you need to search back and forth. For example, when you compare figures in a spreadsheet. Obviously, long-term memory, things that are static, you can memorize, but for business figures that change weekly, that won't help you. So this effortless recognition, this pattern recognition, there's a couple of things that can enable that. Color plays a big role, or also shades of color, intensity, hue, different color tones. Size is a big one, and other ones, shape, and they are baked into visualizing data. So now we will switch over to Tableau. If you have any questions, meanwhile, don't hesitate to type it in the chat or speak up. I think we are a small group, so happy to take short questions now. Katarina, just let me know if there's something coming up. Otherwise, I'll just continue. Now going into Tableau.
Or we can continue.
Thank you. So then I'll switch to Tableau. Katarina, can you confirm it's visible on the first page?
Yes.
All right. So very good. I might just, for the sake of a brief preview and explanation, I'll share another one before that. So here we have data on energy consumption, and it is coming from the Energy Institute, a statistical review for world energy. And there's an organization called Our World in Data that does a lot of good work, also compiling source information and providing analysis. So what you can quite quickly develop in Tableau is analysis like the following, and I'll just give an example of how this can unfold once you've done your analysis. So looking at energy consumption trends, in this case by continent, we can make use of filters. Okay, interesting. Let me just see what. No, I'll just continue with that and updating. I'll show you how to build up an analysis like this. For example, excluding the Asia region, because obviously this is making it hard to see where the other regions in this world are developing towards. Quite current data with latest data from 2024, full year's figures here in this data set. Being able to compare it at certain points in time for different regions, having a look at who's contributing the most, if it's just a matter of ranking, then a bump chart is a good visualization to show the rank and then as it unfolds over time. When we then put this together, in Tableau, you would build up individual views beforehand. So like this bump chart, then you can combine this on a dashboard, and then you can put this into a story as a way of preparing your presentation, which is then still interactive. So we could switch to different time series here. Here we see the overall proportion of renewable energy consumption out of the overall consumption, and yeah, the trend overall. So just to give you an idea of how refined visualizations will look like, and here looking at the share and how it developed over time. And the renewable share from large countries. Okay, so how would you build up things like that? If we are here in Tableau, and for these visualizations that you've seen, I've had to do some calculations up front. So when we bring in our measures, for example, we want to look at what's the hydro consumption. So energy consumption from hydro generation, and then bring in data for the EU overall, but we obviously want to look at this over time, but not like this. Let me just check the source. And here we have a trend overall. And we focused on just a portion of the data. They do have aggregated information, so you can compare the consumption from different continents, for example, so which was obviously aggregated information, or from different countries. So you do have to pick what you choose from this data source. if we look at the EU and then are taking individual entities into it, I could just easily put it in rows to have our entities shown. Maybe just take the relevant ones. Okay, I should actually bring up different ones. So I'll switch over to continents. I could compare them side by side. So obviously Asia will now impact on the axis overall. Yeah. So if we wanted to focus on something more specific, I could come in and fix the scale to some other end, which I would obviously not recommend as a starting point, but if you need to hone in on certain data, you can do so. If we excluded Asia from our analysis, you can then obviously see more from the remaining continents. This can obviously also be done here. We could perhaps remove Africa and South America and Oceania to look more closely what's the case in Europe and North America. So hydro is one of the renewable energy sources. What's it like for solar? So energy consumption that was generated from solar. If we do put them side by side, we can, I can just drag this over and see how that's looking like. Just bear in mind when you do make a dual axis here to sync the axis, synchronize them. So you see the overall scheme here. Yeah. And if we then filter further to focus on a different time frame, I'll just rename this to be year filter. And it will already update here as well. So let's just see what the development was since, let's say, 2010. Okay, so quite constant for hydro, but quite a different picture for solar. If it adds, if it helps us to see a trend, we can have obviously just a linear regression laid on top of it to fit the linear trend line. So we see quite clearly there's even a downward trend in North America, slightly upwards in Europe, but maybe not much movement there in terms of the generation side. We could, if it fitted our data better, decide as an analyst to do a different trend line model behind it. So I can just as well fit the polynomial curve in here, which might describe the trend better. That fits better to our data. Okay, but all in all, certainly also if we move forward to 2015, what's the story here? So quite strong growth for solar consumption. So with that, I could just as well easily go in and maybe develop my analysis further I'll keep hydro as a data point that I can bring up with the tooltip, but just focus on solar. For further analysis, maybe just enrich this time frame. To have a look at the growth. Let's remove the trend for now. We could just label the terawatt hours, which is the measurement in here. I'll just put it on the text. Solar consumption on text, and then I'll label this including the unit of measure. Right, so now that we have that, so this is our overall number, but what does that mean in terms of the growth? So here we will just do a quick calculation. That gives us, well, we can have a look at the differences. As we have yearly figures here, if I look at the differences, you will see the difference year over year. But however, I can, so it's always comparing versus the previous one, but I can also compare it to the first data point that I have still in my view, which hasn't been filtered out. So with that, I can get quickly to the resulting information that is, can also bring this on the label too. So it's a plus for Europe, and with the full number for 2024, it's a plus of 816 terawatt hours from solar energy generation, as opposed to 2000, where we have had only 200 gigawatt hours. Okay, so that's quite clear. Maybe what's the picture going since 2010? All right, so a different picture there. Some things like that you can quickly analyze, yeah. And you might see, depending on what your business questions are, you can quite quickly come to a result or come to your results. So if you might think about how would you need to explain that in natural language, what I just did, the last like 5 or 10 steps, and guide an AI to give you just this information, you might see that so this staying in the flow of analysis is still a relevant topic, regardless if AI gave you a head start or generated some facts for you. Here in the visualization, I can also quickly check or change what I want to look at. Like if I wanted to look at the percent difference, and then bring this up on the label too. So here I just brought it down to this one here, which was kind of a mistake. So if I select all marks and I'll bring up this calculation here, then I have that percent increase. So I see for 2024 full year's result for Europe and for solar generation, for solar consumption of solar generated power, electricity, we have a 19.5% plus as opposed to 2010. So this is just staying in the flow of analysis. Okay, I'll probably leave it at that. as a quick intro to doing visual analysis. We have about 25 minutes left. So I will now switch gears a little bit. Let me just bring up my slides briefly. Okay, so you saw some visual data analysis done in Tableau. You saw some of the steps that I've done, relying on an efficient user interface, using drag and drop. Obviously, once you know the basics of using and doing that, you become very quick in doing so, and it will allow you to stay in the flow of an analysis, which could quite quickly be broken if you got results that were not what you were looking for, or you had to explain an AI to, no, I want to do this and that. No, I want to filter. Can you please update your analysis? Can you do this? Can you do that? And then always waiting for some seconds to get there. When you have an analytics tool like that, you can still also, even in this time, with some AI help and AI tools, still be quite quick for some questions, be a lot quicker doing it on your own and staying in your analysis. So I encourage you to learn the basics, regardless of if you're using Power BI, Tableau, or some other product. Yeah, visual encoding, we saw the use of color. I haven't talked and shown much of the other ones that are available. Filtering, drilling down, excluding marks, making calculations, putting context in there, trend lines. You could also bring in reference lines to enable your comparisons and context. And obviously there is more, there's always more. One of the good things in Tableau, not just because it's a very mature product for 20 years now, it has once you know the basics, you can quite quickly get started and do lots of good analysis in it. Obviously, knowing the ins and outs of it, also some of the pitfalls, so dragging and dropping alone doesn't mean you always come up with relevant results and analysis, but nevertheless, you are able to do this very fast and very quick. But it has so much more to offer, so much more depth. Lots of small functionalities and building blocks that can tease out the insights. If you do it as a human being on your own, regardless of what your task is. Okay, now I will change over to what's the experience when you rely on AI a bit more, maybe also as a starting point. For that, I have prepared one example with another data set that I will just bring up. Here we are using data on Vienna's energy use. And I will just briefly switch over to show you where this data is from. Let me just bring up Tableau. All right, so we have energy statistics data. Here you have the direct link of those sources. You can get this data from there. So you will also get a PDF of this workbook. So then you can see these links and download it after the session. So here we have energy broken down by sector, broken down by energy carrier, so which source generated this energy, and also end use in broad categories. I will see that in a second. I'll show you the data underneath. In a moment. So you should see my file browser, the Finder on the Mac. We will use here data from Wien.gv.at and CSVs. That was the starting point for this analysis. I'll open that up in Excel. So you can see the data. I will just share my screen here. Make that a bit bigger for you. So what you see there is data that is just about Vienna. These standard codes identify Vienna, and it's the whole of Vienna. No district level information in it. Just yearly figures. So obviously the amount of analysis you can do with that data set is somewhat limited to a time series on a yearly basis. We do have data for 2022 included. That's the latest data. So that's the latest data that we have included. We, as a sector split, we see summarization of agriculture, services, industry, residential, and transport, and their energy use. The units of measure are gigawatt hours here. Okay, so naturally we can do some analysis with that right in Tableau. So we will do that. But before we will continue doing it ourselves as humans, and wouldn't it be nice to see what AI could derive from that? Yeah. And in doing so, I will just switch over, giving very brief instruction. So let me just bring up my other screen briefly. So that's why here it is. I'll bring up ChatGPT for just now. So I'll let AI assist me in doing reporting, running the numbers. As I mentioned, this kind of work is something that an AI can do quite well, but logically it's not the LLM that's doing the work, it's the LLM that generates code, actually Python code, which you can inspect further, and based on that Python code and results, so it compiles the results that it thinks about that are necessary based on the output of that Python data summarization and so on. It will then read those results and then summarize that in a context of the task at hand. So what I've just put in as a prompt is very small context. The AI shall behave as an analyst to conduct data analysis on the data sources that I mentioned. And so I'll just bring up a different, actually this was a different one that I wanted to show you. Here we go. And then we'll see what came out of that. So here again, the energy statistics from City of Vienna. I gave it 3 sources at once. There is a full report that you can look up on the energy situation, and also open data, which is why I'm showing that to you, and can happily also run this in ChatGPT without a problem. Obviously, you can have OpenAI's models used in your specific secure environment, hosted on Azure, for example, and link it up with your specific data, with your proprietary data, with your sensitive data. For open data, I don't need to do that. This is openly published. And I'll just reference 3 sources, and it gave me, so I gave it just very brief instructions. Think step by step, let me know typical analyses, carry this out and report your findings and respond in English. That was sufficient to well, not so much think, but make a plan of how to approach it. Here it will give you a good summary as well. Ingest the data from these CSVs, make sure it gets the right decimals, decimal delimiters recognized. Check out it has the same units of measure in gigawatt hours. Yeah, it was smart enough to find out that this NUT stands for the City of Vienna. So things like that it can happily do with its own knowledge. It can furthermore look at what dimensionality there is. So one of the data set is breaking these figures down by sector, which I've shown you. Another one is carrier, which we'll see in a few moments, and what you can do with it, and also the energy use. Out of the carriers such as coal, oil, gas, solar, and so on, it can come up with some further interesting analysis, like doing a split of fossil versus non-fossil, not necessarily renewable energy at the same time, but certainly fossil versus non-fossil use. Yeah, it does quite well capture what this data set is about, what you can do with it, what makes sense to calculate some growth rates, some year-over-year deviations in absolute and relative terms. So quite powerful stuff. Some things that would take you a couple of minutes, if not at least half an hour to do on your own. Then if you were to also build those visuals, do some slope charts, so certain visualizations that might bring out the most of this data, that can take you some more time as well. And some data preparation, some calculations that it does. Quite good analysis path that it takes there. It can also come up with analysis to run on this data set. So yeah, I have nothing to complain here at first glance. And then findings that it did compile out of this data. So basically, there was an overall decline since 2005 in the energy consumption, which is good. So overall, we want to bring down the energy consumption, and out of the energy that we need, we want us. Vienna has the goal of achieving net zero by 2040, so it will need a lot of effort to achieve that. By energy use across major applications, space, water heating, process heat, and transport. We will look at that, what it comes up. So you see there is some more that we can check out from what the AI was compiling here. So lots of good stuff in essence. Some assumptions, won't need to go into the detail. So it did compile those summaries. And it was also able to show this in a visual way. Yeah. So out of some overall analysis and numbers, which can be a bit much to take in, even if it's all correct and so on, it's still quite a bit to digest. It can help you visualize that, and it does do a fairly good job. Obviously, if you are experienced as a data analyst, you will see some limitations there as well, but we can expect that these things will become better and better at finding suitable analysis. So you get a look at the overall consumption here for the latest year that we have data for, 33,400 gigawatt hours, broken down by sector. If I make this a bit bigger. So it's quite powerful stuff, yeah? And without much of me needing to do that, yeah, please show visual summaries of your analysis here in the chat. So not just give me a download, but show it here in the chat. Even give me options to adjust, yeah? So here it brought up 25 to 2022. So obviously if you need to look at different numbers, you might need to instruct it again. It won't take long, but it can add up time, yeah? As opposed to changing a slide in Tableau and read out the new number once you need to look at different results. So here's some good representation of the data, some good outcomes. In terms of the visual clarity, obviously this can be much improved, like the use of color. Doesn't do a perfect job on that, for sure. But I can even just say, well, I can make use of that. Give me a download of that. Give me the pictures, the PNGs, the images. Make a report out of it as a PDF, and also give me an export of the numbers that you've run as downloads. So you can quickly get that from an AI. And here's the PDF that it compiled with some highlights here. So key highlights: largest sector, transport, largest carrier, oil products, fossil share. In 2022, 55% almost, yeah. So quite okay, especially if that was a starting point to then fine-tune your analysis, which is something you will get in this new kind of new functionalities and products, including Tableau, Power BI. They can all do stuff like that, giving you assistance. And how would you do that on your own with the same sort of data? You have seen me doing that before. Maybe just if I bring up this one briefly, or consumption by carrier. So how would you do that from scratch? Bring up the year. And we said by carrier. So we bring out the carrier. We don't constrain them. I'll put them on color for now, and obviously we need the numbers, gigawatt hours by carrier, and already I have the figures. If I want to see the numbers from 2005 onwards, there we go. If I need a different time series, that's what I was alluding to before, 2010, or after the fact of the Paris Agreement, what's the outcome from 2016 onwards, and what's the change since then. You could quickly have a look at that. Yeah? Have a look at the absolute numbers, maybe just look at the differences, the percent differences year over year. Obviously, those colors are not yet customized. You could quickly make this a bit more telling, coal and so on as okay, hydro, maybe we'll do that blue. Electricity, we don't know where it's generated from. District heat might not be renewable as yet. But yeah, so you get the picture. I can quickly customize that. I can quickly bring out certain data points. Maybe coal and gas versus electricity, oil and gas, and just these ones. These are year-over-year changes. What if I wanted to not have the year-over-year changes, but rather over time compared to the first period in a data set, like the ones that are filtered down to 2016, comparing it with 22. So for coal use went down 52% in just those years. So interesting that we had a spike here. Maybe that would be worth digging into more detail. There's also functionalities in Tableau to do more explanation on that data. Here we don't have transactional or detail records behind it, so there won't be much nuance that we can get out of it. But if you have another data set and you show a mark, you can have Tableau explain you what is different and specific on this data point. So you can bring up, explain data that was before, you can bring that up from the data guide. And overall, it can tell you what it is that you're looking at. Okay, so without further ado, maybe just one other one. How do you make sure this analysis is actually correct? I mean, you get the picture. You can come in, check out, let's say, for example, overall energy use. Obviously, knowing your data source, knowing your data set, make sure you filter to get the right results. So here, this is the overall trend, and just for the year of 2022, 33,400 gigawatt hours is our result for the year. If we compare this with the figure that it brought out, we should see that here. So 22 figures, exactly that number, 25 figures, 39,000. So if we compare this briefly, so we can just use our visual here and mark those points. I might just bring up an annotation here. And that's the same figure. So actually those numbers are correct. Just this comparison, that's, you know now how to check that quickly. So I would just bring up the filter, go to 2005, then we have those numbers, then up to another one where I just look at the difference. And I'm able to get to these figures. So this is how you would go about doing using visual analysis to sense check those numbers. What of the top sectors? Just as quickly you can build out these visualizations. So with that, I will just switch back to a final words in my slides. Final remarks to close out the session. It's important, if we can trust these metrics, use visual analysis to sense check your numbers, validate those results. You might be doing a dashboard for that or some visualizations. And how can we steer this? I'm sharing my thoughts. You will see them in the slides as I see we're at the end of the session already. You, stay the analyst. You're not just operating numbers and sense checking, but you form the analytical questions. Of course, you can bring that into the prompt and then guide the AI of what to bring out in your data. Validate before you report. Make sure you know where your data is coming from. Make sure how the data is aggregated. Stuff like that you will need to learn when you do visual analysis or data analysis in one of those tools will still be necessary in the area of AI and maybe the coming up developments of agentic AI with further AI support in your tools. So with that, I will say thank you for attending and stay focused, enable trust. Even if AI gives you powers in terms of speed, it's the visualizations that will ensure that you can trust those outputs and numbers. Visualizations will help you there and to baseline it for trusted decisions.
Thank you for a
Thank you
great
very much.
presentation and